Hi everyone, welcome back to the Lyran YouTube channel. Today I'm going to talk about the 5 natural remedies that I recommend for vaginal yeast infections. Now I know it can be super troublesome. You're pregnant, you don't want to put anything into your body that's going to affect the baby, and you have this really nasty yeast infection that's maybe raw, burning, and causing a lot of problems during urination. So I want to introduce you to the 5 top remedies that I recommend for vaginal yeast infections. Now, before I get started, I do want to mention that it is important to work with a natural health care practitioner. So find somebody that you trust, find somebody who really resonates with you and that can help you on this journey, because it is important to have somebody to guide you. A lot of us tend to self-diagnose, we try and help ourselves, but these people are trained for years and years. And I mean, in naturopathic medicine, we take 4 years to really learn the art and science of natural medicine, and that training is what helps us best prescribe and really know what we're giving to patients. So do find a practitioner that resonates with you, that maybe is within your budget and that can help you during your health issues. So with these 5 remedies, I am going to introduce you to the art and science of homeopathy. Now, I know a lot of you maybe don't resonate with homeopathy. That really is a personal kind of choice. Homeopathy is one of the modalities that is a part of naturopathic medicine. Some practitioners will use homeopathy. Other practitioners choose not to because they don't feel like they resonate with it. And that's to each his own. It's just another tool in the toolkit that you can use if you want to. And before homeopathy, I didn't really believe in it, and I ended up trying it and it worked for me. So it's just something that works for me, and that I want that option to be available to you guys. So I'm gonna go over my top 5 homeopathic remedies for vaginal yeast infection. But before I get started, I want to teach you a little bit about homeopathy so that you're informed as a patient as to why these remedies maybe work. So the remedies in homeopathy are energy medicine. So a lot of ancient practices have energy medicine within them. So when we look at traditional Chinese medicine, we look at acupuncture, we're working with the meridian system, we're working with energy, the flow of qi, and it's when there's stagnation or issues with the flow of qi that we have physical manifestations in TCM. Now, there's also Indian medicine or Eastern medicine, which is Ayurvedic, that works with the chakra system. So you see the chakra system, which are these energy systems that have certain emotions in them. And within these energy systems, it's the imbalance that cause a physical manifestation. So homeopathy kind of works on the same premise as our Eastern medicine and our traditional Chinese medicine. The only difference is that it's kind of in the middle. It's kind of emergence and it's its own thing. So with homeopathy, there's three different kingdoms that we work with. So there's a mineral kingdom, which is your salts and your tissue salts. There's also a animal kingdom, which is animal stuff. And then there's a plant kingdom, which is your plant products. So when you have a homeopathic remedy, first, the substance is taken from one of the 3 kingdoms. So for instance, we can talk about the plant kingdom. So an ingredient would be taken from the plant kingdom, and this ingredient is known for its medicinal properties, its producing of symptoms that would then be alleviated. So with that product, it's then diluted into a homeopathic mixture. So usually a solute such as water is used to compound, and then there's a dilution process that dilutes the mineral. So there's very minimum amounts of that substance left in the final product. Now, the idea here is that during the dilution or the succussions, you're taking the energy of whatever that mineral is and you're amplifying it through the succussions. So at the end, you're getting a product that is essentially that substance, but energy based. So it's going to work on an energy profile, an energy system. And that's where a lot of people get lost, because I don't think, because we can't fully understand what homeopathic medicine is, sometimes we don't believe it works. And even if it is placebo and it ends up helping you, why not? So these are the top 5 natural remedies that I recommend. And why I do love homeopathy is because it's super affordable. It's only like $6 to $8 for a remedy. It's very accessible, and it doesn't cause very many side effects. When I say very many side effects, there's different potencies of homeopathy, and the higher you get, the more prone to aggravations is what we call it aggravations or side effects that you are. And that's why I do say work with a natural health care practitioner, because you could be taking a remedy, some random symptom could show up, and you're wondering why it's there, and it could be an aggravation. And that's really where the knowledge of what homeopathy is and how it works comes into play. So let's get started on the 5 remedies that I recommend. That was a little delayed. The 5 remedies that I recommend for vaginal yeast infections that are herbal. So the first remedy is sepia. So sepia patients tend to be a little bit more irritable. They're sluggish. They kind of want to withdraw during the infection or during their menstrual cycle. So they're just a little bit more reserved. There could be constipation, hemorrhoids, or varicosities that happen in conjunction with the vaginal yeast infection. And often the vaginal yeast itself is a white milky discharge. So the discharge will be different for different patients, and that's where the understanding of homeopathy and its categories really come in, because it's individualized. One woman might have white milky discharge, which is sepia, where another might have a more acrid yellow discharge, which prescribes a different remedy. So there's white milky discharge, and usually there's itching of the vagina during pregnancy. Now, there are things that make this condition better, and there's things that make this worse, and that also helps us identify which remedy is going to be best. So if you want that list of what sepia is with the better symptoms, the symptoms that make it better and the symptoms that make it worse, that's also available on the blog at lyran.org, and it's also available on the podcast episode if you want to listen to it. Our podcast is available on Apple iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Play, and you can listen to the better and worse symptoms and also the symptom profiles. So the next remedy for vaginal yeast infections is nat myrrh, and nat myrrh is a salt. Now, the people who are prone to nat myrrh are a little bit more serious. They're more proper. They like things done in categories, and they're very responsible people. So technically, when I think of nat myrrh, I think of more of a business person, someone who likes things done with structure. This person desires solitude. So when they're experiencing their infection, they kind of just want to be by themselves. They don't really want a lot of people around. They just want to handle it by themselves. That also prones them to depression, and on the wider side of the spectrum, suicidal ideation. So there is that spectrum of moodiness within the nat myrrh character profile. They're also experiencing irregularity in their menses, and often their vagina symptoms are dry. So when they're experiencing a vaginal yeast infection, there's more dryness in the vagina, as well as their leukorrhea or discharge is acrid and watery. And there's usually a suppression of menses during an emotional period. So if there's a lot of stress in their life, if there's a lot of emotions going on, you're going to see a suppression of the menses or your period. The next remedy, remedy number 3, is medeharinum, and that one is usually associated with chronic pelvic disorders. So a lot of chronic illness is happening in the vaginal pelvic area, and there's usually stiffy, puffy, achy symptoms associated with that. Usually there is an intense pruritus. So pruritus is an itchiness that occurs in the vaginal area, and it's very intense, that results in rubbing that just makes it worse. And usually we see a profuse discharge that contributes to more itching in the vagina. And another keynote symptom for this remedy is the fishy, offensive odor. So usually there's a fishy odor. You can smell it, you know that it's a yeast infection, and that's associated with this remedy. All right, let's talk about remedy number 4, creostium. So creostium, normally the general characteristic of the patient is they're miserable, they're weak, and they're really dissatisfied with everything in life. Like there's just nothing that can go right, and there's a lot of problems going on. They're just feeling super dissatisfied. And with that, there's a burning like fire. So in terms of the vaginitis or the yeast infection, there is a fire-like burning pain, and that contributes to a lot of redness as well as rawness in the vagina area. There's also a corrosive itching. So there's a lot of itching going on, producing that redness and that rawness. And then that's going to also contribute to burning and swelling of the vagina area. And last but not least, our final fifth remedy that I recommend for vaginal yeast infections is nitric acid. And usually this person is very negative about life, they're negative about health, they have a lot of anxiety about health issues, and they blame other people for their problems. So there's a lot of little self-accountability in this patient profile. And in terms of the vaginitis, there's usually an offensive discharge and stitching or splinter pains down in the vagina area. The vaginitis is very, very itchy before and after menses, and there is an excessive sex drive. So just in seeing these remedies, you can see there's a really interesting way of going about and painting the patient profile. So we're looking not just at the vagina or the yeast infection symptoms, but we're also looking at the way that the person interacts and how that's going to be the best fit for this remedy. So you can see that's where really the knowledge and the education of how to prescribe homeopathy and what homeopathy is really comes into play here. And that's why working with somebody who's really studied and understands it is a good option. So I hope this helps. I hope this is going to help you become more educated in your health and understand what remedies are also out there that are natural and help with vagina itching and vaginitis. And yeah, don't forget to leave a comment if this helps, if you want me to do more videos on homeopathy or other remedies, or if you have questions. There's my email, the links to lyran.org in the video. And yeah, let me know what you think. Thanks for spending this time with me, guys, and I hope this helps. Take care.